How's it going, everybody? This is RBT coming at you with my NFL Week 17 recap video, and this is going to be my last NFL weekly recap video for the season because this is the last season. I am going to be doing predictions for all the playoffs games. Instead of doing like one video for predictions, I'll be making for this next wildcard weekend. There's 4 games, so I'll be making 4 separate videos for each and every game. So I hope you look forward to that. And I'll probably do a recap for each one. I'm not real sure, but I'm going to keep doing all the recap of all the bowl games. So I'll have a lot of videos to make, but it'll be worth it in the end. Hope you guys enjoy them. But like I said, it's been fun this year. I'll definitely be back next year making more videos like this, and I hope you're going to be ready for that because I hope you enjoy my videos this year. I had fun making them. I'll have fun making them in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and make this recap video and then do my predictions for the playoffs coming up. So here we go with my last full weekly recap video of the 2012 NFL season. And starting off with the Buccaneers beating the Falcons 22-17. Falcons not at full force. I mean, they did play their starters for the most part of the game, and for the whole game pretty much. But the Buccaneers ended up winning 22-17. Josh Freeman was 19 of 35, 122 yards, a touchdown. Doug Martin, big game, 28 carries, 142 yards, and a touchdown. In Atlanta, threw the ball a lot, 28 for 44 for Matt Ryan, 238 yards and a touchdown. Didn't run the ball too much. Rodgers led the team with 28 yards and only 5 carries, and Julio Jones led the Falcons with 3 receptions, 56 yards. Buccaneers outgained the Falcons by 100 yards. So Buccaneers win 22-17 in the season 7-9, and the Falcons finished the regular season 13-3 and are the 1 seed in the playoffs for the NFC. So yeah. And the Bills, I didn't think the Jets were going to get beat by the Bills, but definitely got proved wrong. The Bills blew out the Jets 28-9. Both teams finished 6-10. So surprised that they didn't start Tim Tebow over Mark Sanchez, but this is probably going to be Tim Tebow's last game as New York Jets, so that's probably a big reason why. But I do understand that they started somebody else other than Greg McElroy because he had a concussion. But Mark Sanchez didn't have the worst performance today. He was 17 of 35, 205 yards, no touchdowns. Greene had 74 yards on 19 carries. Jeremy Curley led both teams, led the Jets in receiving with 88 yards. Buffalo's side of the ball, Ryan Fitzpatrick was 12 of 26, 225 yards and a touchdown. C.J. Spiller had 59 yards on 24 carries, and C.V. Johnson 6 receptions, 111 yards. Jets got outgained by the Bills by 2 points, but 2 turnovers ended up being pretty much the difference in the game, opposed to 1 for the Bills. So Bills win 28-9. Jets couldn't score a touchdown, so yeah, Bills win 28-9. Just the Jets couldn't capitalize today. Like I said, both teams finished 6-10. Bengals beat the Ravens 23-17 to move on to the playoffs. They already clinched the spot before this week, but either way, they still won. They beat the Ravens 23-17. Bengals finished the regular season 10-6, as do the Ravens finish at 10-6. Kind of crazy because I don't think the Ravens. Yeah, the Ravens play on Sunday. That's what I thought. They played the Colts, so that'll be a fun game to watch. But like I said, the Bengals won that division, so congrats to the Bengals, or won the wild card spot. So the first time they made the playoffs 2 straight years in a long time. So congratulations to Andy Dalton and the Bengals in this game. Joe Flacco didn't play, so it might be a big reason why they won. But anyways, Tyrod Taylor was 15 of 25, 149 yards, didn't throw a touchdown. Bernard Pierce, 22 carries, 89 yards. Ed Dickson, 6 receptions, 64 yards. Andy Dalton didn't throw the ball too much, only 10 of 15, 78 yards. But they didn't really play their starters too much in this game, so yeah. But the Bengals won 23-17, so congrats to the Bengals. Bears get eliminated from playoff contention because of who was it that won? The Vikings beat the Packers, so the Bears didn't make the playoffs. But the Bears do win this game 26-24 and finish the regular season 10-6. Lions with the comeback late in the second half, but it wasn't enough to beat the Bears. The Lions win. The Giants might have. I think the Giants needed the Packers to beat the Vikings too. But anyways, the Bears finished season 10-6. Lions finished disappointing at 4-12. I thought they were going to be one of the better teams in the NFL this year. Definitely proved me wrong, but what ultimately ended up being the difference in this game is a 2-point game, but the lines were -4 in the turnover margin, so that's a big reason why they lost this game. But Jay Cutler was 18 of 31, 251 yards and a touchdown. Matt Forte over 100 yards, 103 yards on 24 carries and a TD. Detroit, Matthew Stafford was 24 of 42, 272 yards, 3 touchdowns. Michael LaShore, 57 yards on 15 carries, and Calvin Johnson, 72 yards on 5 receptions. So, congrats to the Bears. They do win this game, but fall short of the playoffs. So, tough luck, and still a pretty good team, but just not enough things went your way this year. So, finished 10-6. It's still a positive season, even though they didn't make the playoffs. So, my Titans beat the Jags 38-20. Don't even want to read out the stats. I already made my recap for this, but only reason we won this game, our offense was outplayed big time by the Jaguars. Outgained us by 200 plus yards, but our defense and special teams combined scored 4 touchdowns in this game. It's 28 points. We only had 1 touchdown of offense within 38 points. Darius Renard brought back 2 punt returns for a touchdown, and Zach Brown brought back 2 interception returns for a touchdown. So 2 big games by the 2 of those guys. But like I said, the Jags beat us in every category except turnovers and defensive and special team touchdowns, and that's why we won the game. We finished the season 6-10. Jags finished the season 2-14. Guess I can go ahead and tell you, Chad Henne was 25 of 41, 298 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jake Locker was only 9 of 15, 152 yards, and Chris Johnson 56 carries on 21 yards. Moving on, the Colts beat the Texans 28-16. This game really didn't matter too much because both teams were already locked into playoff spots. But the Colts do finish the regular season 11-5. Texans finished 12-4. Colts, like I said, won 28-16. Matt Schaub 24-36, 275 yards, didn't throw a touchdown. Arian Foster 96 yards on 16 carries. Andre Johnson, big game, 141 yards on 12 receptions. And on the Indianapolis side of the ball, 14-18, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns for Andrew Luck. Vic Ballard, 78 yards on 27 carries and 1 touchdown. And T.Y. Hilton led the Colts in receiving with 111 yards, touchdown on 4 receptions. And big difference in this game was turnover margin once again. 2 turnovers for the Texans opposed for absolutely 0 for the Indianapolis Colts. Colts do finish 7-1 at home. They played very well at home this year. So congrats to the Colts as they move on to the wild card weekend. And they will beat the Texans 28-16. Panthers beat the Saints 44-38. Offensive game. Panthers had to come back in the long run in the fourth quarter, but like I said, they won 44-38. Panthers finished very, very strong. They've won. If they played like they have been playing early on in the season, they could be potentially going to the playoffs. They've won multiple games in a row. They've won 4 in a row. 5 out of the last 6. Been playing very good football as of late, but I mean it's not enough to boost them into the playoffs. But they did finish the season 7-9, I believe, 7-9, as do the Saints. But anyways, big offensive game, as you can tell by the score, 44-38. 538 offensive yards for the Panthers, opposed to 441 for the Saints. Cam Newton was 16 of 33. 248 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 pick, and that 1 pick was a pick 6 by the Saints on a screen pass. It was an ugly-looking screen pass. I don't think he saw the defender. I don't think he saw the receiver. He just threw it, and it was a terrible play. But D'Angelo Williams had a huge game. They could not touch him at all. Had a bunch of big runs, 2 touchdown runs of 50 yards plus. They just seemed like they couldn't tackle him. The offensive line was blocking really, really good. Like I said, 21 carries, 210 yards, 2 touchdowns. Steve Smith led them in receiving with 73 yards. Drew Brees, 29 of 43. 396 yards, 4 touchdowns. Mark Ingram, 39 yards on 10 carries. And Lance Moore led both teams with receiving on 121 yards and 4 receptions. So both teams finished 7-9, mediocre seasons. But like I said, disappointing for the Saints because every year Saints fans believe them to, or expect them to make the playoffs, and they did not. But Panthers fans, you gotta be, happy with the way the season ended up. The season looked like you could have one of the first picks in the draft, and then you finished 7-10. So it was a positive season down the stretch, but still not making the playoffs. But as you can make some positives out of this. So Panthers won 44-38, and both teams in the season 7-9. Giants, man, they absolutely demolished the Eagles 42-7. This game was absolutely pathetic. Defensive side of the ball for the Philadelphia Eagles, it looked like they weren't even trying out there. The Giants could score at will. They can move yards any which way. It was just pathetic by the Eagles. No other way to describe this. Andy Reid more than likely is getting fired tomorrow. And that's another thing. I am going to make videos for all the coaches that get fired tomorrow, because there's going to be a bunch. And, man, I'm going to be making so many videos tomorrow. I got to upload my prediction for the bowl games. Got to cover the coaches' firings. And, cover the bowl games. And I'm going to be uploading the playoff predictions and stuff. So, probably like 10 videos being uploaded tomorrow. This is going to be ridiculous, but got to stick to what I'm doing. So, but anyways, Giants win 42-7. Do not make the playoffs because the Vikings did win, and so did the Bears. They needed both teams to lose to make the playoffs, so they didn't backdoor their way into it this year. But they didn't even really try in the second half because they scored 42 points in the first half. But final stats: Eli Manning was 13 of 21, 208 yards, 5 touchdowns. Ahmad Bradshaw 16 carries, 107 yards. Michael Vick 19 and 35, 197 yards. And touchdown. LaShawn McCoy led the Eagles in receiving and rushing, 45 carries, 45 rushing yards, and 61 yards through the air. But like I said, just pathetic performance for the Eagles, and they finished the season 4-12. Giants finished the season 9-7. Moving on, Steelers do beat the Browns 24-10 in the season 8-8. Do not make the playoffs. Browns in the season 5-11. Thought the Browns were going to win this game, but I think I picked the Browns, but the Steelers proved me wrong. Big reason, Brandon Weeden and Peterson both didn't play, and they had 4 turnovers, so that's a big reason why. But the Steelers won 24-10. Thaddeus Lewis, the old Duke great, started for quarterback for the Browns, 22 of 32, 204 yards and a touchdown. Jackson had 8 carries, 54 yards. Pittsburgh, Ben Roethlisberger 15 of 23, 134 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jonathan Dwyer 52 yards on 11 carries, and Emmanuel Sanders led them with only 28 receiving yards. So, Browns win despite having 100 more yards of offense than the Steelers. But I mean, if you turn the ball over 4 times in a game and don't create a turnover, you're not necessarily going to win the game. 85% of the time, you're not going to win the game. So, Browns win in the season 5-11. Steelers 8-8 at 500, and they win this game 24-10. Broncos absolutely blow up the Chiefs 38-3. Pathetic performance by the Chiefs offense, as it's been all season. I'm not sure what they're going to do in the draft, but I'll cover that later on. I'll do a mock draft or two and just talk about all the picks and whatnot. But Chiefs finished the season 12-14. Broncos are on like an 11-game winning streak, so they are one of the hottest teams in the NFL aside from the Seahawks. But Peyton Manning had forced a big game. 23 of 29, 304 yards, 3 touchdowns. They rested their running back. So Ball had 66 yards on 19 carries and a touchdown. Demaryius Thomas led both teams in receiving with 122 yards on 7 receptions and a touchdown. Like I said, pathetic performance by the Chiefs offense. 7 of 16, 49 yards for Brady Quinn. Jamar Charles, the best player, only 53 yards on 14 carries, and their leading receiver had 21 yards on 2 receptions. That was their tight end, Tony Milwaukee. So, and they had 119 total yards of offense. So, Broncos going into the playoffs look like a potential Super Bowl favorite. So, yeah. A few more games to recap. Man, I'll try to hurry this up. The Vikings beat the Packers 37-34. Adrian Peterson does not break Eric Dickerson's all-time season rushing record of however many it was, and he only missed it by 9 yards, which is kind of sad, but they do make the playoffs, so I mean, I'm sure Vikings fans will take the playoff berth rather than the record, but they win the game 37-34 on a last-second field goal. Packers did play full force in this game. They were playing for home field, playing for potentially a first-round bye, but I mean, they're going to be playing the Vikings again at Lambeau Field in the wild card weekend, but I mean, you can't really, I mean, it's hard to predict the game the week after they played and lost. So, but the Vikings do win 37-34, finish the regular season 10-6, going into the playoffs as a wild card. Vikings in the regular season 11-5, and these teams do match up once again in the wild card weekend coming up. Aaron Rodgers 28 of 40, 365 yards, 4 touchdowns. Greg Jennings led both teams with receiving 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Christian Ponder did have a good game throwing the ball. He was 16 of 28, 234 yards, 3 touchdowns. Adrian Peterson 34 yards, 34 carries, 199 yards, and a touchdown. He did 208 8 to break the record and didn't get that, but he still had an amazing season, and they go into the playoffs, so no Viking fan could wish for anything but that. Moving on, Patriots beat the Dolphins 28-0. Dolphins couldn't really get anything going, turned the ball over 2 times. I think Ryan Tannehill ended up getting banged up. Not sure if he went back into the game, but I do know he kind of got banged up. But Tom Brady, 22 of 36, 284 yards, 2 touchdowns. Stephon Ridley, 74 yards on 20 carries, added 2 touchdowns. Wes Welker, pretty big game, 94 yards and a touchdown. Ryan Tannehill ended up 20 of 35, 235 yards. Reggie Bush didn't get many carries, only 8 for 26, and Brian Hartline had 69 yards, 5 receptions. And the Patriots win. They earned the playoff bye, and they are, what are they, a 2 seed or 3 seed? Yep, they're the 2 seed. So, congrats to the Patriots. Good year. It'd be fun to watch them in the playoffs. Dolphins finished the regular season 7-9. I didn't really think they would be 7-9, and it's better than I thought they were going to be, but still didn't make the playoffs. So, anyways, Patriots win 28-0 and blank the Dolphins. So, oh man, gotta hurry this up. Chargers beat the Raiders 24-21. Chargers finished the season 7-9. Raiders 4-12. Terrell Pryor did start in this game, but didn't perform too well. 13 of 28, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, threw a pick. He's going to progress, so I think he's end up being a pretty decent NFL quarterback. Darren McFadden, 57 yards, 19 carries. Phillip Rivers, 13 of 17, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns. But the Raiders do try to come back in the fourth quarter, score 14 points, but it wasn't enough, and the Chargers do win. So, Chargers finish the season 7-9, Raiders 4-12. 49ers get the playoff bye, I believe, and they beat the Cardinals 27-13. I knew it would be a game like this, but they do get the playoff bye. Like I said, beat the Cardinals 27-13. Cardinals finish the season 5-11. 49ers finish the regular season 11-4-1. Brian Hoyer actually started this game for the Cardinals, so they did pick him up. 19-34, 225 yards and a touchdown. Jamal Powell, 14 carries, 52 yards. William Powell, my bad. Michael Floyd had a big game, actually. One of the biggest games by all the receivers for Cardinals so far this whole season. Well, throughout the whole season, because this was the last game. But he had 8 receptions for 166 yards, a touchdown. So you'd like to see, if you're a Cardinals fan, to see a guy complimentary of Larry Fitzgerald having big games and showing potential, being a very good NFL wide receiver. So, but they did turn the ball over twice, and Colin Kaepernick was 16 of 28, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns. Frank Gore, 68 yards on 20 carries. Michael Crabtree actually topped Michael Floyd's game. It had 172 yards, 2 touchdowns on 8 receptions. So, outgained them by 6 yards. But, anyways, like I said, 49ers get the first round bye, and the Cardinals in the season 5-11 and lose this game to the 49ers 27-13. And 2 more games to predict. Seahawks beat the Rams 20-13. Russell Wilson broke the record for most touchdowns by a rookie. Passing touchdowns by a rookie, broke Peyton Manning's record. They win 2013. He was 15 of 19, 258 yards, a touchdown. Marshawn Lynch, 100 yards and 18 carries. Rams put up a fight, but they end up losing. Sam Bradford, 25 of 42, 252 yards and a touchdown. Steven Jackson, 52 yards on 11 carries. Seahawks, I still believe, are the hardest team going into the playoffs. Either them or the Broncos, so it's going to be fun to watch them in their first round game. And I'll be making the prediction that it's going to be a fun game to watch. I mean, the Seahawks versus the Redskins, that's going to be very interesting to watch. But anyways, Rams finished the season 7-8-1. Like I said, their tie was against the 49ers, like I just stated. But Seahawks won in 2013 and are moving on to the playoffs. And they'll be facing the Washington Redskins, who held off the Cowboys and won 2018. Tony Romo threw 3 picks in this game. Big reason why they lost. They had a chance to come back there in the fourth quarter, but Tony Romo chokes once again. And they finished the season 8-8 with the win. They would have made the playoffs, but they didn't. Tony Romo ended up 20 of 37, 218 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. DeMarco Murray, 76 yards on 17 carries. Dez Bryant did make a few good catches, but he finished 71 yards, 4 receptions. On the other side, Robert Griffin didn't do that well passing, but he was injured. He was limping a little bit. Ended up 9 of 18, 100 yards. Didn't throw a touchdown, didn't throw a pick. Washington didn't turn over the ball once this game. That turned out to be a big reason why they won. They were positive 3 in the turnover margin. And Alfred Morris, man, had a huge game. 33 carries, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Big reason why they won this game. They would not win this game without Alfred Morris. I mean, it's crazy to see the team like this performing so well with so many rookies in key positions such as quarterback, running back, and like I said, just great picks by the coaching staff of the Redskins to help this team perform like they have. I mean, they go 3-6 starting the season, have their bye week, and end up winning out and going to the playoffs. So that's excellent, a great story. I'd love to see RG3 and the Redskins move on in the playoffs, but it's going to be hard against the Seahawks. But we'll see what I predict, and be looking forward to that tomorrow. So thank you guys for watching. The Redskins finished the regular season 10-6, but move on to the playoffs. Cowboys finished 500 at 8-8, and as the Redskins won 28-18 and clinched the NFC East. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. This was my last recap of the year for the weekly NFL recaps or whatever. But I'll be back next year, and I'll be doing a bunch of stuff in the off season. And like I said, just tomorrow I'm going to be doing all the coaching firings, covering all of that, and then I'm going to be following the predicting the playoff game. So thank you guys for watching. As always, roll Tide, go Sox, and go Titans to you. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'll see you later. Have a great night.